Hey there everyone, welcome to Tales in Text and I'm your host Nisha Prakash and this is Bite Size Bharata where you hear tiny tales from a grand epic. We start our episode a year after Shantanu's marriage. Soon his wife is pregnant with their first child. The pregnancy passes in joy and anticipation for the king. His wife gives birth to a baby boy. An heir to the throne, Shantanu thinks in satisfaction. But that night, just a few hours after the birth, Shantanu sees his wife carry their newborn son out of the palace and walk into the darkness. Confused and concerned, Shantanu follows his wife as she makes her way to a nearby river. There, before he can stop her, the queen of Hastinapura forcefully flings the newborn baby into the wild waters, and a shocked Shantanu watches helplessly as the light of his life is extinguished in mere moments. Soon his wife turns around, and as she begins to walk back to the palace, she sees the king standing still, traumatized by the gruesome sight. Before he can get a word in, his queen gently reminds him of the vow that he had taken to never ask her for any reason or justification for her actions. She tells him that they can have a happy future together, if he chooses to maintain his silence and fulfill his vows. A heartbroken Shantanu, glimpsing a tiny sliver of hope in a horrible night, decides to keep his peace and his word, hoping that this maternal madness would never rear its ugly head again. But rare it does. 6 years pass and each year brings with it the birth of a new baby boy, swiftly followed by the child's death in the river at the hands of his own mother. Each child, which ought to have been a blessing, begins to look like a curse to Shantanu. At court, he is unable to offer his ministers a satisfactory reason for the death of each of his babies. Appalled at his wife's apparent lack of maternal love, heartbroken and grieving for the loss of a life that could have been, ashamed at his own unbridled desire for conjugal intimacy, coupled with his regret at having made the two promises to his wife before their marriage, a distressed and desperate Shantanu is at the brink of collapse by the time his wife is pregnant with their 8th child. The night his wife goes into labor, Shantanu makes his way to the banks of the river, now a graveyard to his children. As he expects, he soon sees his wife coming towards the river holding their newborn child, a little boy. But this time, before the queen can lift her hands to throw the baby into the wild waters, an enraged Shantanu steps in front of her and grabs the child out of his wife's arms. With tears streaming down his face, Shantanu berates his wife for being the cold-hearted murderer of her own children. He demands to know who she is and why she has killed the 7 other sons. His wife stays quiet for a moment. Looking into his eyes, she says, "O king, I will tell you the truth about me and about these children. But know that once I tell you the truth, you would have broken both of your vows to me. You could have chosen silence this final time and led a life of ease later. However, you chose to know the truth, and the truth comes at a cost." With this, Shantanu's queen reveals a secret that was long buried in her heart, a secret whose consequences changes the course of Shantanu's life and the life of the Kuru lineage. We'll find out what the secret is in the next episode. Thanks for listening. If you liked what you heard, like my video and subscribe to my channel. I'm Nisha Prakash and this was Bite Size Bharata, where you hear tiny tales from a grand epic. I'll see you next time on Tales in Text.